What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scoundrels of the Forest. I was not even here last week. I missed last week. Luckily, I have a great crew that's always there to get my back. Matty Gunner and Eric Jarvie both did a great job in my place. But I'm back now to control it. I'm the captain now, again, as they say. But I'm also welcoming on a guest this week. It's something I want to start doing more of. I have a good time with guests and getting to know people and getting to know people in the space, especially talking about Star Wars. But without further ado, let's get our crew on. We'll start with our normal scoundrels. First of all, the man, the myth, legend, my second. He's been doing a little bit of producing behind the scenes for me a little bit, and I say I have to appreciate that quite a bit. Mr. Matty Gunner, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, bro? How you doing? You good?
I'm doing good. Always good to see you. You got a ring light so I can see more of you now. It's always nice to see more of you. Those baby blues, they're coming out nice and clear. So it's good to see you, man.
I'm glad that you approve of, letting the kids have the family car for the week, letting the inmates run the asylum, as it were. I was a bit worried. I was like, shit, I've actually now got to actually write down the structure of the episode so I don't forget instead of just going off memory. But yeah, dude, it was fun, and I can't wait. We got an incredible guest that I've been actually pretty excited to have on for a while, and we have a news item that I think he's going to have quite a bit to add on. So,
all right. I will say I took the family car back. I checked it for a lot of scratches, any dents, any dings.
It might be a few.
Okay. Might be a few. We'll work it out.
Check underneath.
All right, welcome on the other normal scoundrel. That sounded weird because we're not normal, but the usual scoundrels, I should say. Mr. Richard Eric Jarvie, how are you doing, my friend?
What's going on? Calling me normal feels very unnormal.
Way off. Very abnormal. I'll take that back, strike that from the record. But how are you doing?
You're probably the most normal one, though, to be fair.
Well, that's what I have you guys think, but not
that
really true.
Actually makes him the most abnormal underneath. He's the hidden hidden freak, as it were.
I'm completely naked under here, and just weird stuff's happening. But but it's great to have the trio back and a plus one for today. Also, I want to know, PLD, you almost said something else. Welcome to Scoundrels of... I want to know what you almost said. I'm putting you on the spot. I always do that, but you almost said something.
Here's the thing. I was multitasking, and I was like, I realized I didn't have the outline open. I had something else open, so I was looking for the outline, and my eyes came across Bad Batch. So I almost said, "Welcome to the Bad Batch," because we are, in a way, the Bad Batch of our own.
Kind of like the Bad Batch.
I get to be Wrecker.
Star Drew, the TV is still here. It's behind me. I moved, so this is a new place, but the TV is still here.
Just on the other side. That's unfortunate. I like seeing the TV in the background, though. I like having you put up like Star Wars.
Right behind me.
Yeah, dude, we can arm wrestle if you want to see who can be Wrecker.
Oh, you want to do that? I would lose to you. I would definitely lose.
But one of you has to be getting a tattoo on their backs at the same time. Like both of you.
Done.
Unless I get you really, really, really drunk, then I might have a chance.
Maybe.
If we ever got together and got drunk, that'd be... Well, we'd all three be wreckers then, I'm pretty sure.
That's true. That's for damn sure. I got one more record, though. We got one more record. He's a guy I just got to know the past couple months. He's a really cool dude overall, and he's very knowledgeable. A lot of fun to talk to. Glad to have him on my channel. I've been on his channel a few times already. The first time he's been on my channel, I believe. If only because I haven't done much on my channel except for Scoundrels of the Forest. I haven't done any hangouts in a while. So, without further ado, he likes to call... he's my employee. He's my employee at the FCL. He writes questions for me. And he does a great job. I actually want to give him a lot of credit where credit's due. We had our first IG match in the FCL this week, and he wrote a big portion of the questions. Like 3 weeks ago, we were starting to write the FCL questions. I knew the IG match was looming, and I was writing singles questions each week. I took Matt aside. I went, Matt, all right, I'm pulling you. You're not going to write me any singles questions. Just for the next 3 weeks, you're going to watch all the worst movies you can possibly think of in the IG, watch them over and over again so I don't have to, and you're going to give me all these questions. And I'll work them, and I'll take all the credit for it, because that's how it works, right? So anyway, without further ado, Matt Thomas, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And pause. We both know I'm the one who put it on myself to watch the worst movies possible.
That's
And I shocked PLD the other day because I watched the Predator films for the first time. He's like, "Wait, that was your first time?"
Whoa.
See, and I feel good. I feel educating. I feel like I'm educating now.
So you saw Predators with Lawrence Fishburne for the first time the other day.
I saw Predator, Predator 2, Predators, AVP, and half of AVP Requiem
Oh, God.
over the last weekend. And I messaged Paul when I got to AVP Requiem. I'm like, nope, I'm right. This one, I'm like, you'll get like the first 15 or so minutes of questions. I ain't revisiting this one.
The best part of that, actually, real quick, the best part of that DM was he actually messaged me first. He messaged me a little bit throughout, and messaged me about AVP being pretty bad. And I'm like, ooh, wait till you get to Requiem. If you think AVP is bad, wait till you get to Requiem.
AVP is pretty decent.
AVP has moments. It's fine. It's fine.
And then the first message he gets from me about Requiem is, they face hugged a child.
It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. But we appreciate you. I appreciate you very much there, everyone. So, but without further ado, let's get into it. We always on the Scoundrels of the Force. We deal with a little bit of news first. Any news that's popped up in Lucasfilm, Star Wars, that general vicinity. We touch base on that for a bit, and then we will, in this case, break down the Bad Batch episode 11 a little bit. A great episode, out of the norm episode for sure. But let's start with the news. There's not a whole lot this week. Matt, I'm going to leave you to read the news. I think I just totally sprung that on him. Matty Gunner. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, Matty Gunner. Matty Gunner, our producer, actually brings the news, and I feel like I almost should just turn to you and let you read the news, because this is almost like your thing now.
Okay.
So even with off air, I'm just going to do it right on air. This is how professional we are. When I start on the screen, I'm going to say, Matty, take it and go with it.
Yeah, I can read the news. This is a news topic that I think Matt will also appreciate quite a lot, because I know he's a collector. So we have Dave Filoni. His character Trapper Wolf is getting his own Black Series figure.
HasCon exclusive, baby. I got last year's HasCon exclusive within reach, actually. It was the Cad Bane.
Ooh. Are you going to be getting the Trapper Wolf?
As long as it doesn't sell out in 30 seconds, yes.
So for a guy who is historically quite likes to keep behind the camera, what do you guys think about Filoni getting his own fucking action figure?
My first thought is he losing his leverage now? I use the Mandalorian. I'm the Mandalorian. Me and Filoni do that. I'm getting my own goddamn black figure. Make it happen. Because who doesn't want an action figure of themselves, in a cool X-wing pilot get up, right? I mean,
George Lucas did it, right? Remember that?
Absolutely.
Celebration 2, George Sakal figure.
That's right.
That's downstairs in the closet, actually.
Also, real quick, just Jake saying, hey, what's up, Jake? Thanks for popping in. Even if you are just here for Jarvie. I get it.
Oh.
He is the eye candy of the episode. He always is.
I'll just be quiet the entire episode. And just...
So there, look pretty. wait. Actually, wait, hold on. Wait. Where is this? So we'll just do this. This is even better. Just for Jake.
Yeah. There he is.
All right. So I'm not real quick. I'm actually not a big collector of figures. I mean, this has never been my thing. But it is pretty cool to see Trapper Wolf getting a thing. I hope we get more Trapper Wolf. I really do. And I know Filoni is not exactly an actor, but it's something cool about seeing him on screen, doing this thing as Trapper Wolf.
Yeah. I wonder if someone's getting that action figure. Yep. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
I have over 100 Black Series figures, so trust me,
awesome.
this literally
It's a museum, boy.
If my room wasn't a mess, I'd show you. Chris, who's in the chat, has seen it. It's literally just I have them hanging on the wall, and when it comes to it, when it comes time to get new ones and put new ones up, they get rotated out and put in the box and put in the garage.
Wow.
So
That's right. General JFTB. As it is, JFTB. Good to see you. Windblade, you're everybody's dude. Windblade, you're everybody's dude. I will say the only reason I'm not a collector, and I'm glad I'm not a collector, is because the amount of money you must spend on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly my point. I got a mortgage, wife, and kids. That's enough for me. I'll look at it from afar. That looks pretty cool.
PLD, I'm pretty sure you'd be divorced if you were a collector.
Goddamn right I would be. Goddamn right.
Knowing how you are with Schmodown, if you took that mentality and put it with collecting, that's dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. So,
because let's see, right here, these two alone, that's already $300. Here's another 125. Here's another 100, and that's
you
just
got the Mjolnir there.
Yeah, I got Stormbreaker over there. Point is, it's not a cheap hobby. Not a cheap
No,
hobby.
that's a lot less bottles of Jack Daniels I can buy.
Right, and
So-
here to give an example. Last year, this HasCon exclusive of Cad Bane was $40. So we're probably looking at the same price tag for Trapper Wolf, and yeah, yay!
Well, have fun with it. Go. I mean, never got a kink shame. Go do your thing, man. All right, man. What else is next on the news?
So our
Now
next,
it's the
bit
good
of,
stuff.
our next bit of news is the cover and the synopsis for Star Wars Vision's Ronin book was announced. It's I'll just power through it quick. A mysterious former Sith wanders the galaxy in this stunning Star Wars tale, an original novel from the world of the Jewel from the Star Wars Visions animated anthology. The Jedi are the most loyal servants of the Empire, so I'm guessing this is like way back. 2 decades ago, Jedi clans clashed in service of the feuding lords. So it's very much a samurai tale. They call themselves the Sith. The Sith rebellion failed, succumbing to infighting and betrayal. We know that's generally how it goes with the Sith. They usually betray, kill each other, stab each other in the back. That's why I love them so much. Far on the edge of the Outer Rim, one former Sith wanders, accompanied only by a faithful droid and the ghost of a less civilized age. He carries a lightsaber, but claims lineage to no Jedi clan and lineage to no Lord. So it's basically Kurosawa samurai movie, which we know George Lucas loved, but put into a book. This sounds right up my alley. This sounds like it was written for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, you just said it, like, Lucas has always been long time, like, Kurosawa. Basically, samurai and westerns, put them together and put them in space with wizards. That's how you get Star Wars, for the most part. So, seeing this, like, in its, like, undiluted, raw form is going to be interesting. It's like almost going back to the roots, in a slightly different way. I'm very much so looking forward to this. I'm actually very much so looking forward to Visions. I was never, this is going to touch this back a little bit, I was never an anime person. I've never been an anime person. My kids are, though. My son has been pushing me for a while, and my other son has actually been pushing me recently. I started watching Attack on Titan for the first time. I got a couple episodes in. That's what he likes. He wants me to go there, and he's going to try to push me into more anime. I've never done it before. But watching the trailer, or the sneak peek, as it were, for the Visions, the Star Wars Visions, that might be a way to get me in, because I am a Star Wars guy. So putting Star Wars in that world, it might be an interesting way for me to do it. I was definitely intrigued, and I kind of feel like maybe this is the time, before we talk any more about the book, maybe we should look at the sneak peek and watch it. And, you know, hopefully everybody in the chat will let us know if they take us down for screen sharing and watching it. We'll find out, I guess. Hey, we'll see. What the hell?
They won't take you down. They'll mute it, because we did a live reaction of WandaVision when that second trailer dropped, and they just muted our audio for
They
it.
muted it? Okay, hopefully that's the case. That's what we'll do then. All right, let's watch this now. I know you guys talked about it last week, but I wasn't here for it, so I'm gonna. So let me get up there. Let me get the right screen up. See, this is what I gotta do. I had the screen all sorts of up, and now I switched it around. I gotta find the proper thing. That's the wrong one too. This is great content we're doing right now. I just want to say I love the content we're doing right now.
Jarvis, just stand there and look smoldering.
There it is. I found it. All right, let's do it. Without further ado.
I love the music already.
Star Wars Visions is going to be an exciting anime anthology series coming to Disney Plus in September. Japanese animation inspired
Oh my
a lot
God.
of the people
I love this
at
shot.
Lucasfilm over the years.
The
We
shots have
loved
been
the
very
idea
beautiful.
of seeing Star Wars expressed
Beautiful.
in that way.
And really quick,
Each one
John,
of
just so
these
you know,
studios that we approached,
that's the next one my
we
son wanted me to get
found
into. He
hardcore
talked about
Star
that
Wars
one as well.
fans.
So maybe
They
I'll do that
all
one as
had
well.
a story they wanted to
Only,
tell.
only anime I've ever been able to really get into is
初めてスター・ウォーズの企画っていうのも
was
あれ
DBZ.
なんか
So
このような夢のようなことができるのかなっていうふうにはちょっと思いましたね。
いやもうついに来たなともう待ってまし
I
た
wonder
I
if
love how
we're getting
passionate they all
lightsaber
are.
wakisashis as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Not
is
just
the
the
one
time.
apparently Ronin is based on.
Yeah.
The Jewel.
Yep.
We were looking for something
Oh my
from the
God,
heart and
dude.
soul
Oh
of
my
the
God.
individual creators.
That
They
right
are
there,
their
that's up
visions
my alley.
through the lens of
Oh my
Star Wars.
God.
Katanas.
Katana lightsabers. Hell
There
yeah.
are so many genres at play: big and bold, romantic and sweeping,
Yeah.
funny, comedic.
Yeah.
で、この作品独自の
Rock
スタ
opera.
イルとしては
I'm all over
ロッ
that.
クオペラということで
I'm all over
日
that.
本の山岳文化みたいなことを語り描けたら
US mountains.
Now that is for me. Twins of the Dark Side. That is for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lightsaber is the stuff of children's dreams. Damn right.
Very much so is. Absolutely. See, a lot of this does have its own unique style, which I love. Like, it's all under the umbrella of the anime, but they're all very different and unique. And I love seeing some of the artists more than others. But that's going to be kind of the come and go of the other series, I think. I'll probably love some episodes more than others, but I think the ones I love, I'm going to really love.
I hope it's hand-drawn. I hope it's hand-drawn and not CGI. I feel like this will give the depth of this storytelling way more.
I would be surprised if we get both. Like, some hand-drawn, some CGI, maybe.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, that looks nice.
They're really gonna be pushing it. Like, I'm more excited about the stories that this is gonna bring up. I don't really care about the animated style. I want grittier stories, and this is gonna bring us that. I'm pretty sure.
We feel so fortunate.
And I love that it's not canon either, so they are their own little
exactly. They got
pockets
freedom
to reflect Japanese storytelling in a Star Wars.
They really can do whatever they want.
Yep.
Star Wars Visions is completely different.
But I almost feel like it doesn't
than
matter if
Galaxy
it's
Star
canon
Wars
or not,
storytelling.
because like it feels like
Audiences will fall in love with it.
these are very disconnected from the rest of the galaxy anyway. Like, these stories are not characters we know and everything else, so I mean, I don't even think we need to label it canon or not canon. I think you could label it canon and be fine with it as long as
Tatooine Rhapsody. Are we gonna have like a Freddie Mercury style character?
you know I'm all over that. You know I'm all over that if that happens. Come on now. Come on now. Hopefully everybody's still here. Looks like nothing. Nobody's claiming anything happened. That's good.
Right. For something like that, it normally happens after being done live streaming.
That's fine.
We're too small for them to take us down.
Sneak under the radar.
And real quick, just throw that. Wow, I didn't realize it was that episode 1000. I might not get into that one quite yet. We'll have to see.
I mean, the only anime I've ever really gotten into my entire life was Dragon Ball. And
man, yep.
As much as I love Star Wars, I don't know if that's for me. I'm just gonna be honest. I may watch one or two of them depending on what I see, but not my style.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was definitely excited enough that I can't wait to see what's going to go down next with it at this point. There's a lot of stories in there. There's some that, like, some of the artwork didn't, like, kind of threw me off that I wasn't, like, saying I'd be into. So we'll have to see how it goes but that's the best part about it. It's going to be a per episode kind of thing, you know? Like,
yeah, they're all dropping at the same time.
Right. That's what it is. It's all at the same time, right?
All at the same time.
That makes sense for this. That makes sense for this because this is not a linear storyline. This is all just like kind of like a lot of movies all at once. So you're going to get that freedom to be like, okay, I'll watch this one now, watch this one later, I'll watch this one. The Duel is probably the first one I'm going to watch, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be 20 minutes or are they going to be taking like longer episodes in there as well?
Or are they just going to do it one big movie and have it a title card between each of them? Say something like...
No, they could do that too.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, where PLD, I don't know if you watched this movie, but each time they moved on to a different story, you had the new title card for it, or the new artwork for it, and then...
Could be. But I figure like there's too many of them to do it all in one shot as far as like one movie goes. But I could be wrong. Because I feel like that'd be like... Because how many of them are there? I don't even know how many of them there are, but like...
I think there's like 7 or 8.
Only 7 or 8? Maybe it could be all done in one. I kind of hope they're not. I kind of hope they're only just their own separate thing. I feel like I'd actually like it to be a own separate thing and be longer. Like, let them be an hour long each kind of thing. Let them do that. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. But either way, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm okay with that. Oh, there. And that's my son, Tyler. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Tyler.
He's watching it. That's true. He's the one who got me into a little bit more of anime, so that's going to be an interesting time. And yes, absolutely. Star Wars has always been very inspirational to anime as well. So it's an
nice Star Wars inspired.
Right? Exactly. So they're all very much so connected. I'll have to see. I definitely want to look forward to the Duel is the one I'm looking forward to.
There's 9. There are 9 separate stories.
Cool.
Oh, very cool. That's quite a lot.
So hopefully, I hope they're on 9. Give me 9 hours of it. That's fine. Okay, 1 hour episodes or 1 hour movies or whatever.
And they could be doing them like one episode could be 9 to 10 minutes, and then we could get an hour of an episode.
That's true.
I feel like there's freedom there.
I feel like the whole thing is a lot. It's like basically, it seems like Lucasfilm went to these studios and said, "Here, do what you want to do. Come back to us." That's that's the game plan. That's the pitch. Your story,
they're short stories, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're like 20 to 30 minutes long if they're short stories.
That's what I'm predicting. That's what I'm honestly predicting. That's what I feel like. But I'm hoping we get 1 or 2 long ones. But anyway, going back to the actual news piece, which was the Duel, I love the fact that I want to know. What I really want to know about this was the book always planned? Was the book inspired in terms of like how? And it says inspired by the world, but like was it one of those things where like they had no idea they're going to do it, and someone loved the duel so much and went, "I want to write more on this. I want like they got inspired. I have to tell more of this story." Or I almost hope that's the case, because if like that's the case, that means that the story is that good, and that's what when they couldn't not tell that story, so to speak. It is about a plethora of books, so there's that. But I'll definitely be reading that and I'm definitely putting this in my queue, and I'll read it as soon as it comes out. You guys excited about the book at all? What are your thoughts?
Hell yeah!
Okay, I knew Maddie would be.
Oh,
Well, we'll see. I the books are what I ask for every Christmas, so maybe I'll get it. Maybe I won't. Here's my thing. I say this all the time. I'm a canon hound. I like reading the canon stuff. So when something's non-canon, it's got less of my attention.
I get that. I get that to a degree. I think in this case is less. It's funny. I think I mentioned this before. I'll say it real quick. I've been doing like for years. It's been when Disney bought Star Wars and made everything canon versus EU. I started then. I went back to the beginning of the EU, and I've been doing a long. Like, this is my final time. I can do a final watch through of the EU to get from the beginning to the end. There's so many books, comics, and like right now I'm only in the period of like episode 3. Revenge of the Sith just ended. That's how far along I am at this point.
Yikes.
That's how much longer I gotta go. But this case, I could definitely put this in the front burner only because I don't think this is something that's going to happen very often. Because they were always strict about everything's going to be canon, everything's going to be canon. So like it seems like they're just starting to loosen that a little bit. So I'm okay with doing it once in a while like this. But the story itself is so cool that I think I can't help but like want to know more.
Sith Samurai, you've got me.
That's true.
You got me.
That's actually more important to me than some of the canon stuff that's coming out. To be honest with you, but
yeah, I'm way more into this than any of the way more than I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this way more than the Bad Batch and any other animated like Clone Wars or Rebels, anything like that. I need more grittier stuff. This will be it.
Now, Richard, have you been reading the High Republic at all?
I haven't been reading the books. No,
okay.
Yeah. I feel like I've read. I think I told you I've read like the Rogue One prequel, or Catalyst, Lords of the Sith, and there was one more. I can't remember at the top of my head, but. To me, Star Wars is such a visual journey. I don't mind the books, but it's just made for the screen for me, and I need to see it. Like reading it doesn't give me the full effect.
I get it.
That new book though is dark.
I would say if you don't like reading the
audiobook?
reading the books, the audiobooks are phenomenal. It's like listening to an old. Back in the day when they did Flash Gordon on the radio or War of the Worlds on the radio, because they throw in the sound effects, they throw in the lightsabers, the blasters, Ahsoka especially. Ahsoka is probably one of my favorite audiobooks for Star Wars because it's Ashley Eckstein reading it. So
okay, I don't mind giving that a go. I'm gonna take you up on that.
Maddie, have you finished the new book?
Almost. I'm like 75% of the way through.
I'm like 35 or 40% of the way in. I just haven't had time to read it, unfortunately. I do like it, though. It is dark. I do appreciate it. So, Matt, I'm assuming you're not reading it yet. You wait until they get them, like you said, Christmas time.
Yeah, my parents always ask me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I just give them a list of books, and they're all Star Wars books, and I say, "Here you go,
catch up.
Just books,
Cool.
books and money. That's all I want."
Nice. Fair enough. That's something too. Yeah, Matt mentioned it. John and Getz mentioned as well. I've never done audiobooks. I still haven't to this day, and it's been. Again, it's not a visual thing versus screen, but it's a visual thing. I like reading what I'm reading in a way that makes sense. I get it better than listening to it, I guess. But I will give it a shot at some point only because it's Star Wars.
There are people, and I did this growing up, to where you play the audiobook as you read the book.
That's true.
That was something my parents used when I was younger to help teach me to read.
Yeah. I've actually read that too, as well as that as a potential strategy for teaching kids how to read. But all right, last bit of news there before we go into this week's episode. Go ahead, take it away, Maddie.
So we have some more news about the Book of Boba Fett. Tamora Morrison has let out. I swear the dude's going to get in trouble with how much he's letting on. That more directors have been added. It's not just Robert Rodriguez. Favreau, Filoni, and Bryce Dallas Howard are all returning to direct episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
The Mando crew.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. The Mando crew.
Minus Rick.
Yeah. Well, lots of things so far is that a couple weeks ago we had this news report where again it was Tamir Morrison saying that, and he kind of let it out, it almost sounded like there's going to be more than the initial 4 episodes. Like, we were told at one point, I forget even how it came out, that it was going to be 4 episodes. Originally, it was 4. And then I heard maybe it pushed out a little bit further. Now it's kind of like unsure. I've heard 6, I've heard 7. I think IMDb had like 8 or something like that potentially. I'm like, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And then Tamir Morrison mentioned directors that were there joining Rodriguez. So this makes sense now. We get Favreau, Filoni, Bryce Dallas Howard being on there makes absolute sense in the world. Like she's, I feel like they're going to start expanding, but they'll expand slowly. When they want more directors, they're going to start with the crew that they've been working with and they've been enjoying working with.
I think after Patty Jenkins, she's probably going to be the first female to direct a Star Wars film. One of the Untitled ones we have coming up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When we actually get them scheduled at this point. I just want to get a schedule down. That's what I'm annoyed. I just want to see what's coming out when. You got
I just want to know when Taika's film is coming out.
I want to know where all of them. We got Patty Jenkins, we got Taika Waititi, we got Kevin Feige's produced one that's being written by the Loki showrunner. A bunch of them. And then we still have the Ryan Johnson still says he's doing his, supposedly.
Is that still happening?
That's what he
said. I feel like this is going to get scrapped.
He said that recently. He said it very recently. Yeah, it was an interview for Knives Out 2. He was talking about how he's still developing it. They're just trying to figure out the best place to put it, everywhere else. But I think by now, I feel like Ryan Johnson always seems to be like this guy to me. He seems to be very much a straight shooter. So like if he had definitely canceled it, he would just come out and say, yeah, we decided not to do it, or yeah, it's unfortunate, blah, 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 blah. I feel like he's actually still working on figuring it out. I think it's just a matter of Lucasfilm figuring out when they want to put these out or whatever. If they took this hiatus. And
with him, it's about giving the fan base time to calm down. Because, I mean, a lot of the fan base is like, after the first Knives Out movie, okay, maybe I'll consider another Ryan Johnson film. I'm not as mad about it since they all knew he's going to be able to do something that he comes up with. So he came up with Knives Out. Let's give him the shot to come up with what he wants to come up with, and not these other person's characters who he had to continue a story of.
Yeah, it wasn't even that. I honestly think Ryan Johnson would have done a better job, even with the sequel trilogy, if he had just done 7, 8, and 9.
Agreed.
Same with J.J. Abrams.
Completely
J.J. Abrams
agreed.
had done 7, 8, and 9. If they had just all been on the one train of thought, the one track, instead of like jumping around. But that's a totally different discussion. We're gonna get there when we start talking about the sequels, because we actually started the show. We started going movie by movie, and then the Bad Batch kind of interrupted that. So we're gonna eventually, in between the series, we'll have to go back and get the rest of the movies at some point.
You didn't see that Twitter stream that came out over the last day or so of Chris Terrio tweets explaining Rise of Skywalker and the decisions that
I saw it. I have not gone through it yet. I want to take my deep breath and get prepared for it, because I don't want to get upset about it.
No, it's nothing. He just politely explains, this is what we were thinking. This was the thinking on this decision. And it's an interesting read. I did read it today. I was like, oh.
I did see it. I just didn't have time to read it yet. Basically, I was joking around about the taking the deep breath. I just really haven't had time to read it yet. But I'm going to after this is done. So. But either way, let's say, go back to the movies I do. We just want to see where it's planned. But going back to this news page, I agree that Bryce Dallas Howard would probably get a movie. I kind of feel like they're using, like Lucasfilm is using the TV shows as like a way to get people.
Springboard?
Yeah, springboard, to get them the experience. And yeah, I know Filoni's going to direct a movie eventually. That's definitively going to happen at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if Ahsoka gets a movie later on down the line after her series is over.
I got a question for you, because they did during the whole Disney presentation last December teased that all of these shows are going to come together for an Endgame like event.
Right.
Do you think that's going to be one of those unannounced movies? That way they fleshed out these stories. We get to this event, all of them end with this one movie that's an Endgame like event, and we get Filoni and Favreau co-directing, or one of them directing it by themselves.
I would love that, and that has passed through my mind. Like, it seems like they are working that way. In a way, it's kind of like, I kind of look at sometimes, as weird as it is, I look at what Marvel does, and I think Marvel looks at what Star Wars does, and Star Wars looks at what Marvel does, and seeing what's successful, because they are so intertwined with each other in terms of they're both under Disney. Feige loves Star Wars. Star Wars loves Jon Favreau is deeply involved in Marvel as well. I mean, not as much as he used to be, but they're family together. So it's kind of feel like they see what works. They know what works together. They're going to try to make it work that way. I do. It's me. Yes.
Because I'm so used to you clicking the pen. Somebody's like, "Who's clicking a pen?" I'm like, "That's PL, dude."
I always hold. I never even had the pen for a long time. I never knew I carried a pen. For some reason, I'm on stream. I always have a pen in my hand, and I don't know why. Sometimes I write, sometimes I don't. But it's just something. It's a habit of mine. I guess I should stop it.
Matt raises a really good point, especially with what I theorize that this big endgame event could be, with being a second war for Mandalore.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be an awesome movie.
I almost wonder if they're going to try to go really big, and they're going to combine something like that with Thrawn, with
do like a battle of
Rebels characters kind of get involved in that as well. Like they'd all come together.
I mean, we know even from the video games and books that this, even though the war ended in Return of the Jedi, it really didn't. It continued on for a short while afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be one big battle, and we see what's that one character's name? The female Imperial, not the high-ranking Imperial. Why am I forgetting? Ray Sloan. Do you think we could possibly see Ray Sloan make a cameo in one of these future shows because of that?
I would love that.
I would love that.
She's one of the best characters we've seen.
Yes,
and in limited amounts. I mean, she only really had like the Aftermath trilogy was the only time she really had like serious screen time, whatever it would be, serious screen time. But she was very much impressive. As far as because she's been sprinkled throughout a lot of short stories, she's been around for a while. I would like to see her. I remember there was that one time in Rebels I thought it was her. Where there was an episode I can say, "Is that Ray Sloan? That looks like Ray Sloan. She's an Imperial. She's acting like Ray Sloan," but it wasn't her, unfortunately. I almost feel like that was like a precursor to her. So, but that'd be cool to see. And then maybe that's it. Maybe the
John Getz. That's it makes sense. I mean, granted, I think we all know that at least it looks like this season of Mandalorian is going to head into it's about retaking Mandalore. That's what this season is going to be about.
Yeah, definitely.
And as of right now, Din's the rightful ruler of Mandalore, so there's that to get to. Yeah.
Just give me like a Star Wars version of the Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones.
Oh yes,
that'll
please.
be good.
Oh yeah.
I'm all over that.
Well, all right, guys, that's the news bits. We're about half an hour in. I don't want to shortchange our episode. Let's get into this week of the Bad Batch, episode 11, Devil's Deal. Was this a Bad Batch episode? I don't know if this was a Bad Batch episode, really. I gotta say, my overall first thoughts is like, and we'll get into more of the details later. I loved this episode, and I loved a lot of this episode. I did have a lot of nitpicks that were bothering me, but I got over them. But the first and foremost thought was exactly that. Like I had to get around the fact is like, do I really love this as an episode when it's not really a Bad Batch episode? Bad Batch were pretty much guest stars in their own show. And the way I worked around it, in my head was that there's a lot of Crosshair in there towards the end. And honestly speaking, as much or as of not, Crosshair is a part of the Bad Batch, even if he's not a part of the Bad Batch. He's still part of that overall story. So where we had a couple episodes where it was mostly Bad Batch going from planet to planet, doing things with trying to figure out what was going on, we didn't get to see Crosshair as much. This is almost a way to update what Crosshair and the Imperials were doing without having the Bad Batch around. So that was the first nitpick I got to. Went, okay, I've talked it out amongst myself. I'm good to go. But overall, it was really kind of cool. I didn't expect this one at all. Like I should have with Filoni. I should have. Knowing that we're going to get, because he always brings in characters he loves, always brings in characters he knows about, especially parts. We saw Kate in the first episode of The Bad Batch, so how are we not going to get Hera in there at some point? And yet, here I was when I watched that going, you see the Syndulas. I'm like, okay, we're going to get Sham and his wife, that's fine. But we're not going to get Hera. If we get Hera, it'll be like her running. It'll be almost like the Luke in Rebels. Luke running, you see, Hera in the distance, maybe you see Chopper in the distance, everything else, that's what you see. Turn off like the second scene, there's Hera and Chopper come up on my screen, and I was not prepared for it. I went,
Can I ask, are all Twi'leks French?
That is like their accent. That is so their accent.
Go ahead.
I had this to be just that shock spoiled for me by our good friend Colin Morris. I go on Twitter first because in the morning you're waking up, you're like, let me wake up my mind. First thing I see is Aaron Chopper hashtag Bad Batch. I'm like, yo, what? No. So I'm like, that was room for me, and so then of course I'm texting him throughout the entire episode. I'm like, what? What's with the accent? And then he had to remind me. He's like, remember, in Rebels, she didn't have the accent, but when she was around her family again,
she had the accent.
It came back. It started to come back. I'm like, oh, yeah.
So I did a little bit of digging. Apparently it was requested by George Lucas that Ayla Secura sound French.
Huh.
So that's why the Twi'lek sound French. Even though now whenever I hear them talk, I hear that song from Eurotrip, that Sam Bam Boom Wah song. Like anytime I hear them talking, I'm like, oh my god.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, Maddie, good to see you, of course. Hey, Maddie. I said Maddie.
Good to see you too.
Hey, Pat, good to see you. I was trying to say Pat and Monty together. I think that's what it was. So it turned into Maddie. So that's yeah. Anyway, Monty, Pat, good to see you. Chopper is the best droid. But the real funny thing about this episode, real quick, I want to say is that this whole episode seems to be about. It's both a curse and a blessing what Star Wars has been doing, because Star Wars has been doing a lot of non-linear storytelling over the years. So we got episodes 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, and 3, 7, 8, and 9. Here's Clone Wars here. Here's the Rebels here. Here's Bad Batch here. It's all inserting, and we're getting
here's Rogue One and Solo.
And we're getting to see these characters at different times in their lives, but we're not seeing these characters linearly. So that was another one of my nitpicks at first. Was at the beginning of this episode, we see Cham. And he's much more like rolling over and showing his belly and like, yeah, Imperials are great. We're going to stop the fighting. Much different than we see him in Rebels. Mm-hmm. So it's almost off-putting, but you got to get yourself into that mindset that we're reversing this character. We're seeing how he got there. So this is where he was at the time. I do think sometimes they maybe made him a little bit too easy to roll over in a way, but it's kind of like a touch and go as far as what you feel the character should be, what they feel the character should be. The truth's probably somewhere in the middle. Right. So it's one of the things I did get over it in a way, but at first was off-put. But that's part of that nonlinear storytelling. It's always like, got to take that second, take that minute to go, okay, this isn't Cham, this isn't angry, bitter, suffering Cham. This is Cham wanting for peace after the longness of the Clone Wars before he gets to that level. So that threw me, but I got over it. I don't know how you guys felt about Cham in the beginning.
I felt like it made sense. Because even though we didn't see how much of that warrior spirit was in him, like you were saying you were missing, you saw by how the senator just was like, he's too powerful. No, the people care about him more than they care about what I say. Right. He can turn everyone against me with like the snap of his fingers.
Right.
So I felt like it was implied that he had that spirit. But like you said, it's just trying to get peace, trying to do what he needs to do.
Right.
And survive.
Good job on that. I will say it was definitely funny seeing, not funny, but it was weird seeing a Lenny Sindela seeing like the more poke.
Yes.
What's going on, dear? What's going on? Like, I love the part when Hera gets caught and like she like bad mouths her like, you can't do that. You can't do that. What'd you say? I love that part. You get to see Orn Freetag again, of course. Get to see him. I always love the character. Not like I hate the character, but I love seeing him.
I can't stand him, especially in the Lords of the Sith book.
But that's weird. He does his job. He does what his character is supposed to do. You feel exactly the way you're supposed to feel about him.
He's a shit weasel.
Exactly. So I love seeing him in that role. Continuously in that role.
I love that expression, Maddie. I'm sorry.
Oh, you go out and watch Action Movie Anatomy a long time. Yeah, that's an Action Movie Anatomy staple.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that one.
All the characters every character that's in there that you want to hate, you want to punch in the face because they're the worst character, but they're never like the big baddie. They're always usually a little bit cowardly. But you still love what they're doing. Exactly. So because you're like, oh, this guy's awesome. This guy's a fucking shit weasel. I love it.
Like Lucius Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy is a typical example.
Perfect. Xander Berkeley usually plays shit weasel.
Yes,
if Xander Berkeley is playing the character, it's him. So, but yeah. Another thing about the beginning, though, also I gotta say, I love the introduction of Hauser. I gotta tell you, maybe this is me getting old. Every time I see a new clone, or introduce a new clone, I go,
Was that a new clone?
That's a new clone.
Best looking clone we've ever gotten, too.
And I never, but in my head, I was kind of like, I should go, I'm reaching back, I go, have we seen Hauser before anywhere? Was this the first time we've seen Hauser? Was Hauser in the Ryloth episodes? I don't think so. So I had to look it up to make sure, but yeah, exactly, a new clone. And this clone comes with a never-ending supply of hair gel. Yeah. It must be Imperial regulation hair gel or something, because it's woo! He is smoking in there at that point.
Since we're talking about Hauser already, did you guys get a feeling that he might not have a chip in? that
No.
the Order 6, because for a second there, he was like, I think Rampart gave the order to like arrest them all. He was like, she's
Hesitant.
just a kid. What are we doing? And all the other clones went in, sure. He kind of had a moment where he hesitated. That got me thinking. I'm not saying he's not brainwashed by Order 66 or the chip, but it felt like it raised the question.
Sorry, that's good. That was good. I had to throw that
See,
there.
but I think we're gonna start seeing that a lot more with some of these other clones.
Mm.
Let me
Go
real quick.
ahead,
I think what I was going to think about this before is I've thought about this one for a long time. I think we're going to see a couple different things. The chip was definitely specifically to manipulate you, but I think a lot of the chip had to do with Order 66 and attacking the Jedi. So I think we're almost seeing a little bit of way, like,
It's kind of wearing off.
not only is it wearing off, but like these people aren't Jedi, so they do have their own feeling about people, especially when it comes to loyalty. Now you see Crosshair; they're going to kill rebel insurgents like they did on God, who was it? Forrest Whitaker's Saw Gerrera. Thank you. Saw Gerrera's insurgents ever. Crosshair, they're like, yeah, well, I'll kill those people because whatever. But Crosshair is also like extra now. He got amped up. I feel like.
Yep.
I feel like Hauser has a loyalty. Supposedly, it seems like he's been working with Cham for a long time, and Cham's not a Jedi, so that's where like he's not a Jedi and he's got loyalty. I think you're gonna start seeing that with more and more clones. Now, the other troopers that way, they may not have that same loyalty because they don't work side by side with Cham. They just follow orders from Hauser, or follow orders from whoever they're supposed to follow. So I kind of feel like, oh, we lost Charlie. That's right, he'll be back, I'm sure. So I kind of feel like we are going to see that more and more. I have no doubts. First of all, this is going to be continued. I did, after this episode was over, I was kind of worried that this might be a one and done. You're back, Charlie. You're back.
Something happened. It happened last time as well. I don't know why.
That's weird. That's all right. Welcome back. So I remember I was like, oh my god, is that where we're going to end it? But luckily, I saw the episode title for next week, and it was something like Rescue on Ryloth or something like that. So it's going to be obviously continued. I have a feeling that we're going to see Hauser have a lot to do at the end of next episode. Whether he's going to, I think he might sacrifice himself to save Hera.
He's going to bite the dust.
He's going to get Cham out somehow, something like that. I'd actually be happy if he didn't die, but you saw him do one of those, like, kind of like what
goes off to join the Rex.
Hot Callus did in the Rebels. Like, he kind of like lets him out the back door and then closes it and goes, I don't know how it happened. They got away, kind of thing. Like, so he still stays involved and everything else, and that could happen. So I wouldn't be surprised either way if that happens. But I do think we're going to see Hauser being a good guy, and the main reason because there's a lot of archetypes in Star Wars and in movies in general, but Star Wars is big on archetypes. He's not the faceless of the villains, the faceless clone, the clones that all the clone troopers you saw when they took off their helmets, the most generic looking clones we've seen. They're all very generic except for him with the great hair. He's got the face time. If you get that kind of face time, you're going to be a good guy and you're going to help out towards the end. So that's what I feel we're going to go for.
I think you talked about you had to get yourself in the mindset of the Bad Batch is they're the guest star on their own show for that episode. I think automatically my head went to, we're going to see how Kanan and Hera get together, because we've had Kanan introduced, we've had Hera introduced. We know that they each get in a situation to where they meet down the line. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we're going to get to see this, and if I remember correctly, Rebels stated that Hera's mother died in a tragic way, and that's why the Calicori meant so much to her. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, towards that end, I'm like, oh, this is it, huh? This is gonna be it, huh? But
good point, because we've already seen. Well, I know it's jumping ahead a little bit. We've already seen Crosshair allegedly take out one, big member of that whole group.
Yep.
Who's to say he doesn't take out the mother?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I agree there. I would think we do. I think we do see him at this point. I think that's Filoni's MO. Filoni loves introducing characters. He loves playing with his characters he's introduced, and he doesn't give a fuck that fans think that's too small sometimes. Some fans are like, oh, I don't want to see them in everything. It's too small. I want to see them.
Those fans can kiss my ass.
And they can kiss my ass. Like, I think Filoni loves that. I think Filoni's like, I'm going to be brazen. Goddamn right I'm putting her in this episode. You're goddamn right I'm going to do a Rebel storyline in Bad Batch. It's going to fucking happen. You're going to love it.
My other question for you is, somewhere down the line in this series, do we see Ezra's parents? Because we know Ezra and Luke are the same age.
Right.
So
damn, that's a
Bad Batch has to visit Lothal at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Not out of the ordinary. That's the great thing about the Bad Batch. That's the one thing. It's like one of the things, if I have to boil down to one of the reasons that has potential for such success at times, is that there's no reason that they're not anywhere. If that makes sense. Like they can go to Lothal for something, and it's not like it doesn't seem forced. They could go to Lothal. There'd be absolute reason they go to Lothal. There's absolute reason they can go anywhere. They can be involved with the rebels. They can be involved with Imperials. They can be involved with pirates. They can be involved with scum. They can be involved with anything in this galaxy, that any corner of this galaxy, any character in this galaxy. The only characters I don't see them ever having any real interaction with would be like Palpatine. Yeah. That's like the only thing that doesn't really make sense. Otherwise, it's fair game. So you can see anybody in the Bad Batch when you want to.
I think that's why.
Is there any storyline that they're like? Do they have like an expiration date in the canon somewhere that they say that somehow the Bad Batch got?
We don't know.
No, we don't know that. Okay.
The only thing we ever knew about the Bad Batch was this 4-episode arc in the Clone Wars, which wasn't very much. It's basically more about getting Fives out, or getting Echo rather, and that's it. Everything else past that is what we've seen in the Bad Batch. So everything is open. And that's a good thing to me. It's a good thing. As long as it doesn't overwhelm the Bad Batch. I don't want them to be guest stars in their own series. If that makes sense. I want to develop more things with them. I want to know more about, this young clone they're with, and that's got to be a little bit of the focus to a degree. So as long as it doesn't get overwhelmed, I'm all about side episodes like this that are. It's kind of weird because it's almost like there's three types of episodes for me now. There used to be story-driven episodes, side episodes. Like I want to say filler because they're still fun, but the ones that don't make as much sense, that don't make as much importance. Now there's 3. I feel like there's the main episodes, there's filler episodes, and then there's like canon episodes, which
wider story.
It's a wider, important stories. It's like fitting in this universe with a different story, connecting it all together. See, this connects Bad Batch to Rebels now.
I would argue this because some people. And this is just the writer in me. It's like there's more than just the story and the side episodes, because there are times where it's a mixture of both, and I call those character episodes because you're focusing on the character growth of certain characters in those episodes and how it plays into them going forward.
There's definitely a blending. When I say there's 3 episodes, there's definitely episodes that blend some of it together. I mean, even those filler episodes of Rebels, there's usually like at least a minute and a half of something that is very important that comes into play later on, usually somehow.
I mean, like the whales?
Right, exactly. And yes, this is what actually is going to happen. I stand corrected. They are going to have Palpatine. Omega's going to kick him in the nuts to escape him. That's going to be a great ending there.
And also, John gets, they don't have an order number for killing children, but they do have an order number for killing a kid named Liam. So that's gonna
fuck Liam.
Liam.
Ever watched our show, Matt, when you've seen the fuck Liam part?
No.
Okay. We don't
we
like
hate,
Liam.
We don't like Liam on this show.
Liam who?
You know the kid, Liam the Shades kid from Attack of the Clones?
He pulled the Shades out in Attack of the Clones. We don't know. We've created this whole storyline where he's just a fucking asshole. We gotta kill him. So,
see, PLD, you touched on something of why I think I enjoy the. And some people, I'm on the camp where I enjoy Rebels more than I do Clone Wars. I know there are some people who are on that camp, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm enjoying this show more than I enjoyed Clone Wars, and I love Clone Wars. But you touched on they can be anywhere. Rebels, they could go anywhere because it could make sense somehow within the storyline that it's going to tie back to the mission. It's going to just like this. They can go anywhere, do anything, because ultimately it's going to somehow tie back to they need to survive.
Right.
So
I agree.
I think that this kind of storytelling is what I kind of love and prefer when it comes to Star Wars.
Right. I get that. A couple of quick bits I want to touch base on, then you guys can do some of your own before we wrap up. One of the things I want to bring up, I love the fact Star Wars at its best, always has these moments of innocent dreaming. And it's Luke looking off into Tatooine suns, things like that.
I know exactly what you're about to
Do you
mention.
know the theme? The theme that came on when Hera was...
Harry's laying the clouds like in the sky.
Yeah.
It's facing that innocence,
Loved
and you're
it.
seeing it. And that's the time where Star Wars feels best. We're at our youngest, our innocent, our most hopeful. And Star Wars knows how to touch you there and knows how to get in touch with those feelings. And I love that part of the episode. I could take those
Getting
all the
goosebumps.
time. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're looking at.
There's
like,
also
yep.
the part where she's talking about how flying is like feeling.
I was about to
And
do that.
You have Omega talking about.
Apparently,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
about failing.
She's saying, Kick's not going to let me fly until I memorize the specs offhand. And you have Hera saying, flying is not about that. It's about feeling.
And then
just
yet,
like, wow.
how awesome is it though, and how much should show a character where Tech's like, what feeling?
Yeah.
Because that's Tech. That's how Tech
Yep.
sees the world. And it's a different viewpoints, but it's so on point. And it's funny. They both work. But it's funny getting that connectivity there. So I did love that part of it, I will say. Another quick thing I had to say is, it's funny.
Oh, Sean.
It's funny how everywhere, all over, everywhere. Execute Order 69. It's happening.
No.
It's happening.
No.
This is.
But I am an adult and I am not a pedophile, so I will not be fucking Liam.
We
No
talked
fuck Liam
about
that way.
No,
We
don't
talked
hate
about
it.
the after hours episode.
We will have an after episode at some point.
The Maddie needs to.
Will the real Scoundrels come out?
Let's switch the subject. Let's
All right,
talk
I'll go
about how
back.
freaking awesome it was to see the Twi'leks in action, like seriously kicking ass and taking over. Love that part.
It actually touches base on something I was going to mention too. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how quickly clone troopers turn to stormtroopers in skill when they become the bad guys. Also, they become a little bit more adept. They're a little less.
Get to my point.
Hey,
I've got a bit of
maybe it's a side effect of that chip. Maybe switched a certain way and now the aim's just slightly up.
That's exactly what happens. I was like, wow, so that's what else they can't hit the side of the board. Okay. We know that in Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars are going to be like, they'd be maneuvering out of the way, they'd be getting out of the way, they wouldn't really touch. And
sniping while looking sideways and running the opposite way.
those three Twi'leks are done.
Matt, you just picked up on my number one beef in this episode. How can Crosshair go from 1 minute he can't shoot the side of a ship, he can't shoot people that are miles away, but he can hit the exact point of Senator Tar's head to the point where it won't kill him?
Well, that was actually part of my beef too, in terms of because they had this whole thing. I'm like, I didn't realize was he dead?
Yeah, when they said attempted assassination, I'm like, that looked like he got knocked the fuck.
That threw me because in my head I was already going, wait a minute, Taz alive during Lord of the Sith book, when I know take place after this. I'm like, wait, what? Are they fucking up canon? They can't be fucking up canon this blatantly, can they? Then he said attempted. So I'm like, okay, that's their way of saying he's not dead. But God, couldn't you show him hits, because he looked like even where he got hit it was like, oh, you can't survive that.
Right, shoulder or something.
Shoulder, leg,
and have him
or at the very least, show him afterwards and show him moving or something at least. Because all the shots in the background, still they put him on the gurney, still they have the blanket on him, so they don't show his head. So in my mind, I'm like, the blanket's over his head and everything else, and he's done. That's it.
If they overwrite Lords of the Sith, I will be so fucking pissed.
That's one of the best. That's one of the best novels that they've done, Maddie. They definitely will not.
And that's why they said attempted. He said attempted. So that's why specifically that attempted line was thrown in there. If they hadn't said attempted, I'd be like, oh my God, maybe they are going to do it. I don't know. But that's exactly what I was thinking. Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Dude, back in the G.I. Joe the movie, it's actually funny we're talking about it because the inner geek and stuff, I was looking into things. Do you know that G.I. Joe the movie was done after Transformers the movie? Now, G.I. Joe the movie, and not being a movie, ended up being on TV because Transformers the movie didn't do so well in the theaters. But in the G.I. Joe the movie, Duke was supposed to die. Just like Optimus Prime died in Transformers. It was that kind of way, and test audiences fucking hated it. So they wrote this thing at the end where Duke sacrificed himself and then gets taken out. You don't see him the rest of the movie, but they inserted a line at the end that Duke was waking up from his coma, and he was recovering from from being in the coma. So I'm like, oh yay! It's kind of weird.
Real quick, funny side story. PLD. I didn't have the IG list just yet, so I watched G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
Bro, message me before you do something like that.
The funny thing is, I'm going to put myself through it again because I want to watch the two of them this week before we go.
It's on Netflix.
Eyes.
It's on Netflix. So
I'm going to.
But Retaliation's only on Pluto TV. I'm like, oh.
I'll have to find a different way to watch that then. But I do want to watch them before Snake Eyes comes out, so that's why I will probably put myself
To be
through it.
fair, if we're putting Transformers in the IG, G.I. Joe should be there. I'll say it. It should just be called the Hasbro one. Hasbro and throw G.I. Joe.
It makes sense to me. It makes, as much as I'm not a big fan of it, it makes sense to me. I would be surprised if that happens in the future.
So Snake Eyes, that's the one with Nick Cage, right?
No. That's big. That's
no,
big.
Snake Eyes is another Nick Cage movie from back in the day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. We know that one.
That's also an AMA throwback.
That's very movie.
But my last
Nobody
point
saw a thing.
My last point for this episode is kind of a little bit more speculation. Do we think, obviously, Hauser's going to know to kill the Bad Batch when he sees them? They're, public enemy number one at this point. Do we think because the Bad Batch are going to be the ones that are the rescue party? Do we see Hauser try to take on both Crosshair at the same time as taking out the Bad Batch?
This is my thoughts on that. Okay, real quick. Yes, this is out because Hera made contact with Omega, and she's obviously close to them. Like, even though she's only had a couple minutes with her, they've obviously had this connection. She has no one else to turn to. Everyone she knows is arrested. So she's going to think, she'll figure out, she's a smart girl, she'll figure out a way. I know, I'll contact Omega. Omega's like, we gotta go rescue her. And, everybody's gonna be like, no, we can't do that. We can't rescue the mission. Omega's gonna go, yes, we are. I want to do it. And they're gonna be like, okay.
For someone who doesn't
she's gonna pull the, we need to help her. We need to help her.
We need to help her.
I have a feeling. What feeling? What feeling?
Is
Oh my
this
gosh,
you guys
she's
trying to do
sensitive.
an Australian accent?
Definitely gonna happen. Definitely gonna happen.
It freaking gets deeper every episode, and I
does.
love it.
Me too.
I don't care. I don't care how little it makes sense. I love it.
There's no guarantee star, but the next episode is called Rescue on Ryloth, so I can't believe that she wouldn't be in there. So pretty much, that's my guess. Or I don't know if it's Rescue on Ryloth. It's something like that. That's something like that with the title. But yeah, so that's going to be it. That's how the episode went. I liked it a lot. I can't wait for this to continue. I'm happy to see this go on. I'm loving this. I'm loving this very much. So, but that's it for this week, guys. Anything last to say about the episode before we wrap up?
Just real quick, love to see Rampart back, and he had one of the best moments in this episode where he completely outmaneuvered, not outmaneuvered, but they were in a situation where they almost lost the battle, and he goes, "So what are we gonna do? We're gonna fight back?" He was like, "No, this is where we surrender." I love that part of him. Mm-hmm. He's like he feels like Thrawn-ish at times. Mm-hmm. Because he's always one step ahead, but he knows he lost this battle, and he completely admits it at this point. This was my fist bump moment when he was just, now we give up.
Well, that's the best part about it, because he wasn't even giving up. He knew it was going to go down. He's ready to move. He's 10 steps ahead of them at this point. He knows what's going on. Exactly. I agree with you, too. He's making himself out to be a very proficient and excellent bad guy to tackle. So, because a hero is only as good as the villain you're up against, as we know. Mm-hmm. And that, I agree with you 110%. I like where Rampart's going. I wasn't a big fan of Rampart when he first was introduced. I was like, okay, so basically you need somebody to replace Tarkin. That's basically what you're doing. But he's proving himself to be very worthy so far. If he continues on,
I want to see more of him.
Trajectory. I want to see more of him as well. What about you, Matt? Not Maddie, Matt. Oh, that's what he said.
Okay. Well,
okay. I guess no. I guess that's the answer. No. How about you, Maddie? Wait till Matt gets back. How about you?
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm kind of hoping Hauser doesn't bite the dust because I kind of like him as a character. I think he looks cool. I'm all for D. Bradley Baker getting paid more money. Because if he's voicing more clones, that means...
Wait, does he get paid per character? That's what I don't know. I gotta ask. Does he get paid for every single character?
I hope so.
I mean, it adds as another credit. So you got to think that he is, because it would be D. Bradley Baker as Hauser, D. Bradley Baker as Crosshair.
That's true. Well,
maybe it's like one extra zero. I don't know.
Maybe. It could be. But yeah. Actually, we gotta be honest, I wonder if D. Bradley Baker was actually happy with this episode in terms of he didn't have as much work to do for the first time in a while. Because, Bad Batch is not in it very much. He only had Hauser. A lot less
all about the French in this episode.
It's all about the French, exactly.
Oh,
I can't do a French
accent. All
right, well, Richard, where can the folks find you?
The folks can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Richard Eric with a K Jarvie. And since I'm not doing anything else, you can find me here weekly or sometimes bi-weekly on PLV projects.
And I will say, I think I'm going to try to push for weekly. Times that even when I can't do it, I'll let Maddie take over because, quite frankly, he did a good job, and I'd like to try to keep this as weekly as I can. So maybe that's what we'll do going forward if we can help it. But either way, Matt, you're back. You kicked out of us. That's okay.
Yeah, the weather's messing with the internet here. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Give me your
it's great
last
when you have
thoughts.
the show.
Give me your last thoughts episode, and then tell us where you can find you.
This is just because I'm a Rebel guy. This is probably my favorite episode. Even though the Bad Batch was the complaint I have about Black Widow, I love it in a Star Wars thing. I don't get it, but I think it's because I knew this. We're getting more than that. Anyways, I enjoyed the episode. It's setting up a story for the Bad Batch, and it's showing love to my favorite Star Wars property, bar none, in Rebels, and some of my favorite characters. So I love it. You can find me on Watt.
Oh no!
Hold up, Matt. Hold up. Touch the reset.
That's Disney fucking us up now.
It is. They're pissed off. Hold on. Wait for it. All right. You know what? I'm going to take him out until he comes back. Maddie, tell us where we can find you.
So you guys can find me on the Wild Jones Podcast Network every Wednesday and Sunday for the ONU MMA show, where we break down the world of combat sports twice a week, every week. Going to be taking, I think, a little break because the whole McGregor fight week stuff kind of took it out of me for a little bit. You guys can find me on Twitter at Matty Gunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner, and I'd never promote this. I probably should. If you're into hard, heavy music, go check out my band Shadow of Azrael. If you're into bands like As Are They Dying, Bleeding Through, It Dies Today, Darkest Hour, those kind of early 2000s metalcore bands, go check us out. Let me know what you think. I guess I can announce it here. Our new record comes out October 29th. So,
all right. Throw some links in there. Tweet it out.
Exciting stuff.
Absolutely. And Matt is back. We'll let him try to plug himself one more time. I don't know how you type what he just said, but we'll try to figure it out for next time, John.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead, PLD.
No, go ahead. Tell us where you can find you. Go ahead.
Watt Real Entertainment. That's WAT.
Oh no!
Oh, you've got to be kidding me!
You got that in.
All right, try again. Real quick. Do it quickly.
Watt Real Entertainment on YouTube. WATREEL Entertainment on YouTube. We got Spin from the Reel tonight at 8:00. We got Jada Prama coming on, and we also have our boys from Any Given Schmo Day coming on to join us for the show. We're really excited to have Corey Cameron and Dagan join us. So
there you go. Now that's all cleared up. Looks like now it's perfect.
And then check out my questions on the FCL every Tuesday.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you can find me at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. You can find me hopefully weekly on PLD Projects on Scoundrels of the Forest, and hopefully, even though I've been threatening for a while, I hopefully will try to expand my content eventually. But right now, I'm so freaking busy. But I will try to expand my content on the channel at some point. So be there when I do. You can find me on Action Industries. Finally, I was able to get back onto the actual producing Ben and Drew stuff. Now we can figure out how to get me on screen at the same time since they're not using StreamYard anymore. So now I'm there for mostly action Unfiltered on Fridays and the Action Guys on Sundays, and we do our regular scheduled random scheduled Saturday stuff like the Root of the Question, like usually once a month. Shows like that as well, some watch along, things like that. You can also find me on Call to Action sporadically. I've been kind of dipping back a little bit on Call to Action stuff. Actually, all of us have been dipping back on Call to Action stuff. We still have shows that are going weekly at this point. Some humor shows. We actually had a meeting last night. We're going to try to get away from the... there's so many after shows nowadays. So many after shows that we kind of like feel like a lot of the after shows, and this is no slight to anybody because we do the same thing. It's kind of like the same type of show. We come on, talk about the matches, you interview competitors, and that's kind of thing. So we're gonna try to step away from that like a little bit, and like because we've been there, we've done that at our times, and like, other shows are doing just as great a job of it. We're gonna try to do some more newer content if we can, some different kind of ways to do it. I know one of the shows which I love to pass on that people don't get to see much of is our No Chill episodes, which Dylan Camacho and Nat Vu have been doing. It's basically the concept is between two ferns and the Schmodown. And he's done a great job. He really roasted Brendan Fraser, did a great job roasting Sabrina Ramirez. A lot of fun, a lot of short form content. We want to try to do more original stuff like that.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, you said Brendan Fraser. Wow. I was like, what?
Brendan Meyer. Sorry, Brendan. Sorry, the kid. I don't know why I said Fraser. Wow. God,
how could you roast the kid? Like,
that was the best. He was actually one of the best guests about it. He was actually funny as hell. He was all into it. Obviously, pulling the curtain back, people know what we're doing. But it's hilarious. Sabrina was funny too. We got a few knocks on Hannah and everything else. That was nice as well. Any chance we can knock Hannah a little bit ourselves?
Poor guy.
That should be cool as well. Chilled Action, the original Chilled Action, which this was kind of the response to, will come back at some point. when Danny has gotten a new job and she's really been really trying to recalibrate some of her life at this point with that. Just been super busy with that, and of course my business didn't help either. So hopefully, as things start calming down a little bit, we can bring chilled action back. I want to say, yep, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, they are. They're funny people. So we'll bring back chill hopefully when the time is right. Until then, you can find me on FCL every week. I produce the FCL, head writer for the FCL. Take Maddie's questions and massage them a little bit, and then add a few of my own, and then we're good to go. That's basically
They're always at Harris.
It's always at Harris. I'll always find a way to throw Ed Harris in there. Big matches this week. We got Alana Jordan, the Punisher versus the Sinister James Shimo, which is always going to be a fun Inner Geekdom match. And then, of course, we have the big debut. We got Aaron Turner, former Rundown host, playing up against Alex Marzonia in his debut match. So that should be a lot of fun this week. That's it. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. So until next time, may the force be with you. Always.